microphone for the listening public. I'm not looking at anyone in particular, but if you want to be singled out, you go right ahead, lady. As soon as we have our keeper, we're good to go. All right, good evening. Let's open this town council meeting for June 20th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item, Twyla.
Is roll call. Counselor Albert?
Here.
Counselor Colby? Here. Counselor Crawford?
Here.
Counselor Lunt?
Here.
Counselor Ward?
Here.
Counselor Crafts?
Here.
And Counselor Brunel.
Here.
Moving right along.
Good news and recognition.
If anybody else has anything else, I'd start with the high school baseball Saturday. Played in the state game. Didn't end the way that it would, but I would like to at least recognize their contribution and effort to be able to get to the show. It's my understanding, the first time since 1989 that we've played in that game, and they played well. It just came all undone in the seventh inning. Moving right along. Anybody else?
Yeah, I got one. Class of 2017, congrats again. Obviously, we're pretty proud of this community. So,
Anyone else? You're up, Twyla.
Under public hearings, we have a renewal special entertainment permit for the Friends Lodge.
I will open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this item? Seeing no movement in the room, let's move right along. Closing the hearing.
And the next hearing is for the fiscal 2017-18 municipal budget and capital improvement plan. 2017-18.
Before we open this one, I'd like to have Diane bring us up to speed with where we're at and give you guys a brief synopsis of the budget, where it stands at this point.
As we began the budget this season, back a few months ago, our budget at that time was an increase of $1,530,577, or 19.2% over the current fiscal year. Through the hard work and dedication of the department heads and the town council with several budget meetings, in a variety of different ways, we've been able to reduce that budget now down to an increase of $196,554. A couple of the items we've deferred to other years. Some of the items which were one-time expenses, we have, council has dedicated unassigned fund balance to cover those expenses, and then just some sheer changes in some of our budget figures. So now the budget is $196,554 over the current fiscal year budget. Just the municipal side without the county, that's about a 2.4% increase. When you add the county's increase, it brings it up to 2.8%. The other difference is the revenues, because our excise tax has been climbing more than what I thought it would. I've increased that revenue by $100,000 over the current fiscal year. So that, with some other changes in the revenue, my revenue is up $155,972. So if all things are equal with the values, the current year values, without anything new for the new commitment, if you net the two together, the increase in the budget and the increase in revenue, the difference is about $40,582, and what that would mean to your tax bill is an 8-cent increase to the tax bill, to the mill rate, 8 cents. Obviously, that's not going to be the way it is, because we will pick up some new value, and there'll be other factors involved in the commitment. But just the municipal side alone, it's an 8-cent. So I think that's remarkable compared to where we started. Since the last budget meeting, we've made some changes, and most recently, we had some changes in the technology, and also we've netted the IRS interest rebate we've netted that to expense this time, and we can do that. So I've taken that out of the budget, and I've taken it out of the revenue side, because when it comes in, it's gonna directly hit that line that we pay the debt payment out of. So that's one change, and the technology. So that's where we're at right now. We made a lot of changes. I've been trying to keep track of them, all of them, that they're very, very numerous, but I think that that's a very, very good budget. The personnel and benefits is about 50% of your overall budget, which is rather low compared to other places. Usually it's around 65% of your budget, so we're at about 50%. And also, included in this budget is, you know, we've got some debt payments that we have to pay. Another big change was the principal payment on the $1.5 million road bond. We don't have to pay the principal payment this upcoming year. We lag a whole year, so I was able to reduce that by 150, but that will go back, 150,000, that'll go back in next year. We just have to pay 2 interest payments. So with that, the capital improvement plan, some of the items on that plan we're funding through unassigned fund balance. Some of it is included in this budget, and some of it's not being funded at all. But it is the plan. It's not something that we're funding it all. It's just parts of it are being funded, but it's just a plan for us to forecast out in the future what we have to do for capital needs.
That said, anybody wishing to speak on behalf of the budget, please step forward. Wow. Let's close that public hearing. Moving right on, Tyler.
The next item is audience participation and response for agenda items.
Anybody wishing to speak before the council on any of the items tonight, please feel free to step forward. Again, seeing no movement, moving right along.
Under the consent agenda, any counselor wishing to remove an item may do so now. Order 2017-150, to approve the accounts payable and payroll warrants 146, 147, 148, 149, 150, and 151. School accounts payable and payroll warrants 1068, 1069, 1070, number 35, and 1724. And a liquor license for the Friends Lodge, along with the workshop minutes of May 23rd and the regular minutes of June 6th, plus a banner permit for Positive Change Lisbon, a Carnival Festival application for Positive Change Lisbon, and to ratify the election results for the June 13th, 2017 election.
I'll make a motion.
I need the second.
I'll second.
Somebody get Twyla a drink of water.
All in favor?
Order passed 7-0.
Thank you. Moving on, Twyla, when you're ready.
Under council orders, ordinances, and resolutions, Order 2017-151, the dump body bid award.
Brian Layton, Lisbon Public Works Director. Nice sign. Here to talk about the dump body installs for the 2 cabin chassis that we've ordered. We put out the RFP that's included in your packet. We received 3 bids from HP Fairfield, Messer Truck Equipment, and Viking Sives, Surveys, USA. Messer was the high bidder by quite a bit at $114,000 and change. HP Fairfield was $99,300, and Viking was $96,170. And at this point, we recommend awarding the bid to Viking. We did have some issues last year with delays. We've contacted the sales rep or their representative to put the bid in, indicated that reminded them again that the dump trucks would be, or the cabin chassis would be delivered by the end of August, and would they be able to meet the end of October deadline, and they confirmed via email that they would be able to meet that schedule. So we'll see what happens come the end of October at this point. But pretty happy with the bids considering what we've paid for the last couple of years, and the Viking gear is pretty much what we have on the other trucks, so I'm quite comfortable recommending that we award to that vendor, and they're right down the street.
Is there any sort of recourse if they don't meet the expectations in October, just to say, well, next time we don't do business with you? Is that it?
We talked about it before we put the bid spec out. We talked about putting a penalty in there, and the recommendations that we received were just not to do that, just to clearly identify and get them to basically respond via the the award process or even part of the bid process, what schedule they could meet.
Okay. Thank you.
That was what we tried to do.
Well, that's all we can do, I guess.
Any other questions of Ryan on this bid before? That said, I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Right there. All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Next item, 12.
Order 2017-152, the sidewalk snow blowing bid award.
So here we are again. We sent out a revised RFP with some more detail and kind of a little bit of less detail, basically just saying that you're responsible for whatever winter brings that year. We received only 2 bids for the bid deadline. One from Four Seasons Landscaping for a 5-year contract of $250,000, and one from Longchamps and Sons for a 5-year contract of $283,000. We did receive a bid after the deadline by a couple hours from James Carville at a bid of $29,420. At this point, based on the RFP process, recommend awarding the sidewalk snow blowing to Four Seasons Landscaping for a 5-year contract. That would put us at $50,000 a year, which was, I think, our goal when we talked about possibly contracting out this service. And again, I hope they know what they're in for, but I don't know how you really prepare for that at this point.
Right. One of the things that I would point to that clearly stood off the page this go-around was, quote, does not have a limit on snowfall for the season, total running feet. You know, so it clearly spells out versus what we got from the last time around.
Yep.
Which basically indicates that when you pick up the phone to let them know they're coming out.
Right.
And I think, I mean, my recommendation at this point would probably be for us to do something similar that we've done with the previous, when we were previously contracted out the service, and draft an agreement more formal than just signing off on the proposal versus the RFP, and just to get, you know, so that way some
Right.
of those details are ironed out and what's going to
In
happen.
advance for what everybody's going to be dealing with for the next
Exactly.
5 years.
I think it's the only way to be, you know, being transparent. That way there's no guesswork.
Plus, it protects their interest for somebody that's going to have to invest in a piece of equipment for that next 5 years.
Right.
Where does the, can I just ask, does the town provide the sand for the sanding?
We would provide that material. It'll be
Okay.
salt or sand, depending on what the circumstances.
I was just curious, because one bid mentioned it, the other one didn't, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I thought I saw something in the RFP that said that they were required, they being the contractor was required
To do it.
And
but
then
they
I saw
didn't.
Longchamp, a bid that said that they would require us to supply the sand. So I got the same
Yeah.
question. I'm glad you asked it.
Any other questions of Ryan? I need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I didn't say it, sorry. Needed a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Next item, 12.
Order 2017-153, ABCOG joint purchase, 2017-18 road salt.
Jumping ahead at this point, but ABCOG put out their notice that they're looking basically to see who wants to participate in the SALT program again this year. And based on, they've negotiated with our supplier from last year to hold the price consistent. At this point, we request permission to just move forward with ABCOG for our SALT purchases for this coming winter.
Yes.
We feel comfortable that they're going to be able to meet the schedules that they were having trouble with last year?
I believe so. I mean, after that first initial incidents, I think things ended up leveling themselves out.
Got ironed out, yeah. All right, great.
Lewison just moved forward with this Monday night, too, so if they're willing to hold the price, I'm all for it. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Need a
Second.
Yes, arm wrestle for it. All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, 12.
Order 2017-154, the town planning services contract.
This is the annual contract for Community Planning Studio for 1 year, in the amount of $20,000. The only difference this contract has this year, as opposed to previous years, is we added subcontractor language to it, so that Amanda can subcontract some of the work, which she's indicated that she's going to do. So the the contract is still between the town and community planning, and if she has any subcontracting work, that's between her and the subcontractor, but we're allowing her to do that.
Planning Board is very much in favor of this arrangement. Diane and I have talked about it. I would support the contract. Any questions you guys have going into it?
So the planning board already met with the person that they're looking to subcontract with, is that my understanding? That they were happy with that person? Okay, good.
Any other questions? I need a motion.
Make that motion?
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Order passed 7-0.
Next item, please.
Order 2017-155 Lisbon Emergency Dispatch Services Agreement.
As you know, you had already approved this at one point, but we had to make a minor change on the contract. There are some services that they didn't charge us for in the past, but they no longer cannot charge us, and it has to do around Moxie Festival. So they're gonna be charging us $930 a year for the Moxie Festival. Anytime that they're going to cover, which is not, anything that's non-community service oriented. And it amounts to about $930 a year, and they'll hold that rate for the next 3 years. The original contract said that they would provide those services at no cost to the town. Now they need to charge us.
And the corresponding lines in the budget have been adjusted?
Yeah, some of it will come out of Moxie, the Moxie revenue, Moxie account, and the rest will come out of Mark Stevens' budget for the road race.
Any other questions with the revision to the contract, guys? Seeing none, I need a motion.
Make the motion.
I need a second.
Second?
All in favor?
Order passed 7-0.
Next item, 12.
Order 2017-156 the PSAP contract.
This is the annual PSAP contract with the Androscoggin County, and it's a per capita fee, the amount of $18,918.90. So I just need authorization to sign the contract for the next year. This is an annual contract.
Pretty standard. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Order passed 7-0.
Next item.
Order 2017-157 to set the workshop date with Lisbon Emergency.
The Board of Directors of Lisbon Emergency would like to have a joint workshop with the Town Council. And we talked about July 18th, that'll be our next regular meeting, and I thought maybe at 6 o'clock we could schedule that.
Any reservations? I like that it's actually on a regular scheduled night rather than just another night.
Yeah.
So by all means, I need a motion for that.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second?
Setting for the 18th. All in favor?
Order passed 7-0.
Next item, Twyla.
Order 2017-157A COPS hiring program.
Good evening, Mark Hagan, Chief of Police. I apologize for this. This is a last-minute opportunity that the town has the opportunity to apply for a grant. The Department of Justice puts out annually an opportunity for agencies to try to go and get extra officers to supplement their departments. So we knew that this would probably be coming up. I've been in touch with the Department of Justice since May. The issue is they don't tell you when exactly they're going to release the grant funding, and they don't tell you the parameters of it. Otherwise, I would have put this into you, and we would have been better prepared for it. So it just came out, and there's, of course, a 3-week quick turnaround on getting anything back in to apply. So the details of the grant are basically this. The Department of Justice will provide 75% of the funding for a new officer over the next 3 years. And we, as Lisbon, we're in a position where we could add 1 officer to supplement the PD. The reason I'm asking for this, and the positive aspects, I believe, of this grant opportunity are, 1, straightforward community policing. Our lack of personnel is a continual hindrance for us in the opportunity to get out and provide the appropriate level of service to the town of Lisbon. We just don't have the number of people that we need, and we've had to decline some opportunities to get out there and work with the community. Proactive law enforcement, we're out there, we've added a lot of things to the officers' plates to be more proactive. They're doing regular weekly additional details. They're making callbacks on complaints that they take, and they're calling people back, the victims back, checking in with them after the call. You know, they're out there providing more proactive enforcement in the whole town, basically. So we're out there, we're trying to do more with less, to be honest with you, and this is a good opportunity for us. Another a positive aspect of this is safety. I think I've told you folks this before, but we're not at the point where we have 2 officers on per shift. There's many times where officers are answering basically volatile calls by themselves or in a position where they have to wait for backup. So if we were able to get this position, we'd be in a spot where we'd have almost 2 officers working basically 20 hours out of a 24-hour shift. We'd have at least 2 officers on. Another positive aspect of this is cost savings. Basically, we run almost every shift at minimum staffing levels. So if somebody calls in sick, somebody gets injured, somebody's out on vacation, we're usually filling with overtime. Or in a recent case, we had an officer that was at the academy for 18 weeks. We were filling a lot of that with overtime. So this would be an opportunity to save some money. If we had the additional person, we can move their shift around, and we wouldn't constantly be filling with overtime. And it's cost effective, to be honest with you. The average entry-level officer, when you include the benefits, the average cost to the town is $65,245 annually. So if we have federal government covering 75% of that, what we're looking at is $23,578 annually. So instead of $65,000 for an officer, we're paying $23,578 on an annual basis. So it seems like a good opportunity to us to get another officer at a fairly cheap rate. To be honest with you, we wouldn't be looking at $23,000 this year. If we apply for this grant, they won't even release their findings until probably September or October. So if we were to receive the grant, we'd find out September, October, we'd go through a hiring process. We probably wouldn't bring anybody on until January, because that was when the next police academy would be, and unless we had a certified officer, we would be sending somebody to the academy in January. So basically the $23,000 that I'm talking about, excuse me, cut that in half, we're talking anywhere from $10,000 to $12,000 for this year when we bring it on. Now, you know, that's not much money. I know we didn't budget for it. We didn't know how much we'd budget for. I didn't want to throw out numbers to you 2 months ago and then find out that the grant was going to be something different. So it is not something that we have budgeted for, but I've asked a lot of the officers here. We have 12 officers. I've increased a lot of the daily activities that they're doing. This is a good opportunity to get another officer in here to not only alleviate some of the daily stress that's been put on our officers, but I think it's at it's a fairly cheap rate for the opportunity. Basically, federal government would pay 75% of this for 3 years. We would have to keep the officer on. We'd have to show them how we're going to take care of that part of the budget after the 3rd year, but I think we'll be able to absorb it and plan for it by then. So basically, what I'm looking for is
Right.
I'm just asking you right now if we could even apply for the grant. It's nothing more than getting our name in to the hat.
When they do their funding, do they do it on a fiscal basis too, or that 3 years from the date of hire? How does that work on their end? So-
I believe it's 3 years from when they release the money,
So it-
when we bring somebody on.
Okay, so
Yes.
just like any other COPS grant, it has a sunset based on when it is awarded.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any reservations?
I have
Any
no
questions?
reservations. In fact, I think I'm going the other way on this. I think if my memory serves me correctly, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, I think the study that we paid for as a community said we were below optimum level at that point, and I think 14 was the magic number then, if my memory serves me correctly.
Right.
So to hear that we're at 12, we have an opportunity to add one at a reduced rate.
Affordable.
Exactly. And realizing that when 3 years comes, we'll have to make some decisions about whether or not we can sustain that or, where we're at. But I think it's a real good way to find out, and we're still one below what the study calls for. But Chief's made it pretty clear that they got everybody wearing as many hats as possible, and they're still finding it tough to get it done. So if we can find a way to give them some help at a reasonable rate, like Chris said, I don't see how this is a no-brainer. Let's do it.
If we are granted the grant, then, and that individual doesn't stay on for the full 3 years, but it's nothing of our doing, do we have to pay any of that back? Or can we hire somebody else and still maintain receiving that grant? Like, what's the,
That piece, I'll
Clause in
have
that.
to, I'll have to check the fine print, to be honest with you on that. We wouldn't be, as long as we didn't release the person for budgetary reasons, the grants are usually, we're all set. But, it's just one of these things, you can't release somebody, oh, we're getting near the end of the grant, sorry,
Right.
you're going to be.
no, I mean, like, if that person were to leave on their own free will, would it cover for a new employee to come
I
back?
believe it continues on for that position. They're
Okay.
not necessarily hiring
A
Officer
body.
Smith and paying there, they're just paying for that position.
Full-time position.
Isn't that the community recompensation thing? I think I remember you talking about that, too. If we send somebody to the academy, and then they go to a neighboring police force, then they would compensate us for the
Yes,
time in the academy. I
exactly.
thought I remembered that. So
Yes.
we would have some sort of recourse there in that way to get that, if we had to go get somebody new and send them to the academy, at least we're getting compensated for our time.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion.
Before I have one question, is after the 3 years are over, are we required to keep funding the position, or, is it up to the discretion of the town?
Part of the application is showing how we can keep them, how we can prepare for them for at least 1 year.
Okay, at least 1 year afterward, okay.
I have a motion on the floor.
I'm going to
Second.
second. I'll take that. All you, buddy.
Okay.
All you.
All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Outstanding, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
So what I'll do is I'll increase the budget before next week when you vote on it to compensate for about half that amount,
Sure,
January to June.
sure. I think it's probably the best way to approach it. Next item 12.
Other business, council committee reports.
School is up first.
No new news. No news is good news.
Planning Board, they accepted a plan from Kieran Transport, looking to build a garage on Lisbon Street, and a conditional use permit for Pam Hogan, and set hearing dates for this week, and moving right along. The other item that will be on that report will be covered later in the agenda. Water Department.
All I have of the water department is they're going to start moving their meetings for the summer. They're going to do it permanently, but they're doing it for the summer for now to see how it goes from Tuesdays to Mondays.
Is that
Second.
My only
I meant
reservation.
Mondays to Tuesdays, sorry.
My only reservation would be the fact that when we start rolling in the budget season, could they make accommodations to keep the liaison? You can't be in two places at once when we have our every Tuesday night from February through April. That puts you in an awkward position. So if you bring that to them,
I certainly will.
I saw that today too.
That's all I got.
LDC, sorry to interrupt, sir.
So no meeting in the month of June, but we did go ahead and identify that July we have a lot to go over. So we're trying to go ahead and get everything that we need ready for that meeting because there's going to be a lot of ground to cover.
Conservation?
I don't have anything to report. I know Mark Stevens is out there in the audience if he has anything he wants to add.
Sorry, Mark. That listening public thing.
My name is Mark Stevens, I'm the Parks and Recreation Director. And we had a meeting about an hour and a half ago, and we have a task put on our plate for doing a comprehensive plan research. So we're not meeting in July, so their charge is to go through the packet, make sure that all of our natural resources are updated, and a comprehensive plan, and report back to us in August.
Thank you.
Don't go very far.
I think you're on deck for Recreation Committee is what I'm hearing.
Okay. We met the first Monday in June, and most of that meeting was spent talking about the implementation of the new playground. We got the bids back, and we went through a selection process, And as you know, you accepted the bid. And we kind of started, we didn't break ground today, but we started by moving the old equipment out of the area. It's all cleaned up now, and it's ready for excavation Saturday morning. So we're kind of
Nice.
breaking ground Saturday morning for the first stage, and then July 5th and 6th, we're kind of threading a needle between the 4th of July and Moxie. I don't know why, but it's the way it's falling on our plate. We're going to have this thing, playground in place probably the evening of July 5th. We're hoping for.
It's a bold strategy.
Go team.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank
Got
you.
everybody you need, Mark, or you need some extra
So-
volunteers?
I
You-
need 17 more people
17 more people.
You need 16.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Count me in.
Yeah.
You need
during the
bodies
day on a Wednesday, starting at
fine.
7:30 a.m.
All right.
on a Wednesday? Oh, that's right on. You have 5 then. I don't get any time off until the end of the year. Absolutely. But no, if you seriously need, put something out there we can actually drum up to be able to help with that. By all means, let us know.
Don't think you're going to have any problem getting bodies for Wednesday.
Appreciate it. Thank you. County, there's nothing. Library.
I don't have anything to report unless Diane Neto has anything she wants to add.
Good evening, Diane Nato from the Library Department. We're 1 week away from the kickoff for summer reading program. Parents and children are now thinking, oh, school's out. Those who didn't pre-register today, it was just nonstop at the desk. Where are my papers, and sign me up. So we're moving that forward. All is well with our mails. We're very honored to get these paging tickets. One of them is pretty cool. I don't know if you remember Marion O'Brien. She lives in this community. She put together a very small history of the 3 churches that combined here. And it's a wonderful little book in our main collection. Goes out occasionally to people who are interested. Well, it went out to Caribou, Maine today. So that's really good. I don't know if somebody had family there and wants to reminisce, or people are just interested. So information about Lisbon is getting out there, and you can't get any more out there than the county. So it's going very well with that. So the next report to you should have, that's the last phase of it, is to teach us how to do the reporting and how to put all that together and decipher from the Mills family what is ours and what's not, what doesn't belong to Ricker and that kind of thing. So the next report to you will have numbers to compare to.
Thank you. Ms. Neto actually reminded me of something. The fact is, I can say that we do get further out because I forwarded an email that I responded to Diane and Mark. Lisbon, Portugal is actually interested in knowing about us as well, too. So they were looking for information from the Historical Society or people to be able to address with similarity.
They've reached out to us, too. So.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm glad they did. Thank you. All courtesy of Stephen King, the series 1963. Absolutely. It was.
Put us on the map.
It did. It did. Town manager.
Nothing to report other than I completed jury duty late this afternoon today.
Thank you for your service.
Innocent and glad.
Right. Next item.
Planning Board, Town Booth at Moxie Festival.
Come on up, sir.
Don Fellows, current chair of the planning board. We're here, I'm here to, because the planning board wishes to invite the council, any departments within the town, like rec or trails or economic development, or actually any department, to participate in Moxie by helping us occupy a new booth down there. That we've been doing this for the last 3 or 4 years very informally with whatever we had to put out. But we thought that it would be worthwhile to advertise the town at our biggest festival and do it on a more formal basis. So as of yesterday, we have plans to acquire a 10 by 15 tent that's blue, heavy duty, and couple of banners that say Town of Lisbon, that's all they say on them. So that from year to year, we could entertain whatever's of current value to the town. So I think what, in addition to tonight, what we will probably do is send emails out to all the department managers to say, if you've got something that you can put in that booth for us to advertise the town, now would be the time to do it. We also will be staffing it with planning board members throughout the day, as we have on a volunteer basis and whenever we can catch each other. So it would be nice, really nice, if we saw town councilors there talking up the town as well. So that's my spiel.
He asked to be able to talk about this in workshop last meeting. Open discussion associated with that. So what be the wish of the council? I don't know what everybody's availability the weekend of the festival. I know what yours is, but you'll be there wearing orange most likely.
And I've already got Mark, so.
We'll be around.
Okay, so we have 2 on board.
I was just going to say, we're going to be there from after the parade forward, so we'll cover it. But
Right.
if you want, somebody wants to show for a period of
Right.
time, it'd be good.
One of the other key pieces associated with this is that any literature that's out there, but, recreation programs, information regarding the transfer station, library programs that are out there, just getting key pieces of sound bites to the public for people's consumption. If we could get those centralized through Diane's office to be able to get there for day of, put that in motion to, like, the discussion of the planning board that night is, a mini marketing campaign of what it actually is for the captive audience that is coming to our festival. So. You look like you had a thought.
No, I did, but then it ran away.
I'm glad it's
That
not just me.
happens.
Glad it's not just me.
That happens.
Anything else on that? All right, moving right along.
Written department head reports.
Anything on the content? I would like to congratulate Andrew Levesque in actually completing the work at the academy. I did read that in the report. Thank you for bringing that out tonight, Chief. And next item.
Audience participation for new items.
Anybody wishing to speak on behalf of the council, to the council on that topic? What'd you do to the raw straw, the wrong straw?
Yeah.
I saw the look across the rooms, like
There
you
was
were,
a couple.
you were totally coming up. I
There
could
was a
see it.
couple. Ryan Layton, Public Works Director. I was asked to bring up the topic of the Edgecombe Road Bridge, just as a little bit of a follow-up. I did receive an email today from Ben Foster, who is the bridge contact at MDOT. It's my understanding, based on the email, that Topsom has discontinued their side of the road of the bridge, and basically the bridge is the town's responsibility from now until eternity. The DOT does have a responsibility to inspect the bridge on a every 2-year basis and to determine its safe access and whatnot, but the liability ultimately lies with the town. We have a couple options moving forward. We could discontinue the road leading up to the bridge, discontinue the bridge, technically leave the bridge in place, but it doesn't eliminate any of our responsibility as a municipality. They did indicate that, based on, it seems like we need to have a letter, maybe even from Topsom as well, but definitely from Lisbon, requesting that the bridge be eliminated, that it's possible to have the DOT remove it at their expense. So that would eliminate our liability moving forward and so on and so forth. I think Mr. Bickford wanted to speak about this as well, but I also wanted to just, completely different topic. Next week, Wednesday, tentatively scheduled to pave Canal and the sections of Main Street. So appreciate the paint that showed up over the weekend, but we're on schedule. It will be paved if the weather cooperates.
Thanks for enduring the arrows and slings and everything else that happened about that little particular
There's
area.
a fine line between social commentary and vandalism.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Bickford, come forward.
Roger Bickford, Main Street. I'm 100%
in favor of what Mr. Layton said. The bridge is no longer a recreational trail for the town of Lisbon. It's been closed off by a disgruntled landowner, and we hired our attorney to, Thompson Trail Riders hired our attorney to try to figure a way around it, and there's no way. So there's no benefit whatsoever to the town of Lisbon except liability. And if a lot of you haven't been there or underneath it, I have, and it is really deteriorating, and really deteriorating bad and fast. So I would recommend if the state would take it out, take it out.
So that would be your position to actually solicit them to actually remove the bridge?
Right. Remove it, because as far as the snowmobile, ATV, or any other access, you'll find out probably next week that we have other accesses that we're gonna try.
Okay.
So it's, I'm more worried about the liability to the town.
Right.
If it falls into the river, we're gonna be responsible for cleanup, DEP, Salmon Federation, all that stuff. And I just think if, I just found out about the state would take it out tonight myself, but that's the way to go.
I appreciate your perspective coming from the trail riders as well, too, representing that organization.
Okay,
Thank you. Anything else before council tonight? To Mr. Layton's point, can that be put on a future agenda to take that action, or is that something we can direct you to do? What's the
You
proper?
can direct me to do that tonight if you'd like to. If you want to make it.
Let's do that, let's make that motion.
I have a motion to be able to direct Mr. Layton to be able to see about
Check
getting
to
that
the
done.
Maine Department of Transportation and see if we can remove the bridge.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Order passed 7-0.
Thank you. Any other action? Closed. Moving right along, 12.
Councilor Communications?
Anybody have anything that hasn't already been expressed or shared? If I do, it's escaping me, so moving right along.
Appointments, Order 2017-158, the Ethics Panel. This is a one position, 3-year term. You have one applications received by David Bowie.
And I see an A in the announcement of the council chairman's appointment to the ethics panel. I guess before I make that official position, does anybody have any reservations?
No, Dave
You
Bowes
can
one reason
Make the
why I'm
appointment
doing it.
first, probably, for the 3-year term. He has a 3-year term first. And then after that, you can choose a chairman.
Okay.
Board is full.
I need a motion then on the appointment of Dave Bowie for the 3-year term.
Go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
I'll
I need a
second.
second.
I'll
All in
second,
favor?
but, yeah.
Order passed 7-0. Now you have a full board. Make your appointment.
So is that somebody specifically that we would identify from this?
Yep, it's a 1-year term, and you can choose anyone on the committee.
Bless
And
you.
your previous one is, that your chair was David Bowie, on your ethics panel previously.
I would make the motion to actually have Mr. Bowie, if he's willing, to actually stay on as chair.
Okay.
All in favor?
It's actually just entirely up to you.
just-
It's up to me.
Up to you as the chair. You
Yeah,
gotta
that's-
pick their chair.
That's a you thing.
Your decision.
Nose
Correct.
goes, David wins. It's all good.
Okay, so you'd
Thank
like to
you.
reappoint him? Okay.
Right on, moving right along.
Order 2017-159, the Library Governing Board, one position for a 3-year term. You have one application. I believe her name is Hillary Cool.
Anybody familiar with Mrs. Cool or
I
speak on her
am, she's a
behalf?
great person. We're lucky to get her.
Is that the motion?
That's the motion. I make that motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Order passed 7-0.
Next item, 12.
Order 2017-160, a Planning Board opening, one position for a 3-year term.
We are going to postpone this to a future discussion. Make the motion to actually put it on a future agenda, please. I need a second.
I'll
Make-
second.
Favor?
7-0, order passed.
Recreation Committee, next item.
Yes, Order 2017-161, the Recreation Committee. You have one position, a 3-year term. You have applications received. I can't pronounce her name, though. Is it Angela Demores?
Demores.
Sounds good.
We got it right?
Come right up and speak on your behalf. Tell us who you are.
That's what you get, right
She's
there.
in the
That's
room.
right.
She's in the room.
Wow, okay. Well, my name is Angela Demores. I live on Pleasant Street in the Falls, and I am originally from Durham, so I'm a local girl, and have lived here in Lisbon Falls for since 2001. And I've been very active in the community. I was a Girl Scout mom, and I'm also involved very heavily with the Lisbon PTO organization. So I would really appreciate this opportunity to be involved with the rec committee. So thank you.
Thank you. I need a motion.
Make the motion.
Make it there. I got the second as well. All in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
You're hired. Next item.
The executive session. A motion is needed to go into executive session
Will we be coming back for a vote?
per 1 MRSA Section 4056D, labor negotiations, and Section 4056E, consultations with legal counsel.
We will not be coming back for a vote, so class is dismissed. I need a motion. We'll be
Take that
staying
motion.
right
You
here.
just made it right there.
I made the motion.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Order passed, 7-0.
Me?
All righty.
I tell you that
PM.
I worked 21 and a half hours straight.
Last day.
Thursday,
Your little dinghy, eh?
my little dig,
No,
the little dig turned into a...
no. Are you a little dinghy? Yeah.
Was I a little dingy? My boss, this is what my boss tells me as I'm done my paperwork, going out at 4:30 in the morning.